Hello world, I'm Connor Bread from Beyond, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this battle cannon. It's very useful because it has the ability to swivel. So right now it's going to shoot to the left, but if we do a little of this, like that, there we go, we can now have it shoot to the right. Now I have a full showcase of this cannon that'll be linked, but for now, just to show it off, goes like this. Now up here it doesn't look super complicated, but there is quite a bit of circuitry that goes in under, which is why I'm making an explanatory video. Now to start out, we first are going to need soul sand. The way this works is that there are 3 tubes where you can see the 3 trapdoors, and so that's where we're going to start, and then everything after that is just control. So we're going to build a triangle like this with 3 blocks of soul sand, and this is going to be 3 barrels. Now to create the height, we're going to want, we can do any block here. I'm going to use glass, just I like the look that you're able to see into it, but you can use dirt. We'll go up 14 blocks, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That will be, our cannon will be slightly taller than that. There's like 2 or 3 blocks more height that will be added later on, but for now, for our barrels, that's how tall. Now we need to put in the dispensers. Now I have these preloaded with TNT for, it's not supposed to have soul sand, there we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a glass block there, and we will load up the dispensers. Now you should have 1 row facing in this direction into this tube, and then you will have 6 more, 3 into each. So will be like this, these 3 facing in, and then on this side the same thing. If I can, there we go. And then, of course, we will take these dispensers and we will stack them up to the 14 blocks, same height as that glass. And I shall do that now. Now it is finished there. And if we take a look inside, you'll see for this forward arrow pointing one, we have this 1 line of dispensers. And for the other 2, we have 3 into each. Now, next thing we will want to do is to fill these with water, and then we're going to do that just with a little bit of kelp. You probably know the trick with bone meal. You can do this manually or however you please, but just to make it quick, I'm going to be doing it like this. We'll grow it all until we've got all source blocks. And 1 more. And then we can just break the kelp, put back our glass. Right? I said put back our glass. There we go. And now we have 3 bubble columns with TNT-filled dispensers facing into them. Now, theoretically, if we were to activate all these dispensers now, we basically would have a working cannon. If we could basically delay this one, it would shoot straight forward and it would be pretty good. But we need a system in order to be able to shoot this cannon, as well as we want to be able to swivel it. So we will set that up next. Let's clear the inventory. We're going to need slabs, or we can use any transparent block, but I like the look of slabs. We will want redstone. We will want droppers for specifically the swivel control system, as well as repeaters and comparators. So we can start setting that up. Now I'm going to work from the bottom. We will want to create an alternating pattern with the slabs. Now if I can break this one, it would be like that. However, we want it to be 1 out, so it will be look something like this. So we'll go 3 out, and then just 2, and then same thing like that. And I will finish this one, and then we'll skip to where I've done the other one as well. So let's just finish up really quickly, and then I will do the time skip now. We have done both sides now. This is looking good. And now what we will want to do is to place repeaters here. This is to make sure that we get the signal to be amplified into this block, so we'll be able to power these dispensers, which I'll get to in a bit. All right, like that. Now what we will do is we will have additional slabs. We skip the bottom one because if we put that there, which is what we're going to do all the way to the top, is actually going to mess up with our trigger. So we will skip that. However, we want to place slabs on the side here, which will transfer our signal from these dispensers to these 2 rows of dispensers, and same on the flip side, so that we can trigger it all so we can get our maximum firepower out of our cannon, because we want to shoot as far as possible, hopefully. Now, with that side done, we want to put some redstone dust onto each of these. And I think, yeah, I did a bottom there. That's fine. Oop. Not quite sure if that'll be an issue, but just in case, let's leave it alone. And we'll do the same thing on this side. These all have to be top slabs because bottom slabs, you can't put redstone dust on them. So that's a long slab. There we go. And we want this all to be on the same level as these repeaters, to make sure that they get properly powered. And this will guarantee, as I said again, that our whole barrel gets powered, not just part of it. And there we go. Now, in order to power these repeaters, we want some redstone line on here. These. So if you power it from here from the bottom, it will travel all the way to the top, or possibly not quite reach the top depending on the signal strength, which is very important because we want to be able to control how many of these actually fire in order to control the strength of our cannon in each direction. We do that, it's perfect. Now, the other thing is, let's grab just a regular block. I like to use gold because I think it looks nice, but you can use anything. So this will be our connector. And now the one thing we want to make sure to do is we also need to power these dispensers in order to have our payload. So we'll first put a line of blocks in front of it, and we're actually going to power these blocks because if we were to try and power these directly, it might interfere with these dispensers, and that would be no good. Now we will create some lines that will power these. We don't need to do the repeater thing, so it's just this slab setup to make the signal go up, like so, all the way to the top, and we mirror it on the other side, because while most of the time having 2 sides will do it, that will bring the signal, will be redundant. However, occasionally you only want one side to fire, so like maybe this side fires, but this side has nothing. And if you only had one system, then the payload just wouldn't fire, and we can't be having that now, can we? So to ensure that we can, that the payload always fires, we have just a tad bit of redundancy. Now we want to connect this here. And so when this gets fired, we now want to put down some repeaters. I think 4 was the one we wanted, and then we want to set them all to maximum delay. So that should be 16 ticks of delay, if I can do math. which I can, I think. Now let's set our redstone line up here. And then on this side, oop. There we go. And then one thing I forgot to mention is we want to set up our top here. So let's grab a trapdoor. We'll grab mangrove. I think it looks nice. And we also will need some fence gates in order to control water. So let's go like, hang on. Let's get our fence gate properly. We want a bottom fence gate for the back like this. And we want another one over here. But then we want a top fence gate, or wait, I think we want it higher. That's right, I remember. We want another one, but a block higher for the front. Now we will put fence gates on all sides of the trapdoors. Now these can be replaced with signs. However, I like the fence gates will provide more visibility, which is useful when you're trying to aim. Alright, so now we can grab some water and we'll be able to put it in the back one, if I can line up properly. There, and then there. Perfect. We can do the same thing on this side. Excellent. And now to do this top one, we will need a few more. Let's go there, stack one up, and stack one up, and open them all so that they allow stuff to go through. And then we will need to grab our water again and put one here. Actually, I think I will need to replace this real quick in order to allow that through, but let's fix it again. There we go. Now, if I activate this, just right now, I'll even do it to show you that it would work. Let's just set up a redstone line to connect the two sides, and this will work. Let's grab a button, dark oak, I guess. If I activate this, this will fire. Voila. It's perfect. So I guess we're done. But no, because we actually want to be able to control it. Not just fire, but be able to aim. That's the whole point of this cannon. If you wanted one just to be able to shoot, there are simpler, less expensive designs. So, let's set up that system. What we will need is, first let's clear out our inventory. We need some wall. Now I'm going to go red nether brick, but cobblestone's probably cheapest, but you can pick whatever one is just either available or you think looks nice. Now we want to go, now this is where the cannon is, so we want to go to out because we're going to have some circuitry on this area. Let's fix that. And so we want to make a 5 wide wall. We want to stretch this all the way to the top. And what this is going to be is at the top, we're going to have some trapdoors that will be connected to observers, and which in turn will be connected to note blocks, so that whenever we hit the note block, the trapdoor will flap onto the wall, which will send a signal down. We will have 5 different signals, hence 5 different walls. So, and how that works is we have one of the 5 is simply the fire button, and the other 4 control the sides, and it's 2 for each. So these 2 walls here will control this barrel, these 2 control this one, and then the one in the middle is the fire. So now that we have this wall, in order to make the two sides usable, we need to also line it with blocks. Again, it doesn't have to be gold, although it does have to be full blocks. But I do think glass works, even though it's transparent, but then slabs will not. So we have this going all the way to the bottom. And now we need to grab droppers. We will need 4 in total. 2 for each side. Now we will want to go like that. And the way I set it up, we measure the top dropper, which you can flip it and you'll see what flipping it, so you would basically raise it by 1. I'll show you what that does in a bit, but for now, let's just work off the premise that we're measuring the dropper on the top. So let's just use it to build up. There we go. So it's 2 droppers facing into each other. So if either of these droppers, assuming it had stuff in it, is fired, it will drop the item. So actually, we can test that. Button. It will place the item. So there's an item in this dropper. However, if I activate it, it will drop it into the... Actually, I think that's triggering both of them, and that's why. Here we go. There we go. It fires it into the other dropper. So we will need unstackable items. I like to use other side music discs, but you can probably use something a bit cheaper and more available in survival mode. But just because I like the music anyway, and I used all of them other side. You can use whatever you need. You will want to put 9 in each side, so a total of 18 non-stackable items. These can be wooden swords is probably the cheapest one, or like wooden pickaxe, something like that, just wooden tools. But again, use whatever you please. And now this will be our control. Now, to set this up, we want 2 blocks here, and we will want observers. In total, we will need 7 observers, 3 for each side, which is 6, and then we'll need 1 for the fire button. Now, we will want 2 observers here, and then 1 here. So, now this is set up. If I trigger this wall, it will create the bump in the wall, which will trigger this observer, which triggers this one, which will power this dispenser. And so 1 music disc will go up. Now if I delete it, it has the same thing, 1 more music disc, so now there's 2. And then if I hit this wall instead, it does the opposite. Now there's 1, and now there's 0. We can do this on both sides. So get rid of these 2, and then that. And perfect. Now we have control over where our discs are. Now, we want a gold block here, and a gold block here, and this will allow us to power it. We'll destroy these 2. And now we want a comparator. Right there. You will need 2, 1 for each side, and what this does is now we can, if we put this block here, you can watch how, wait, I need to put it there. If we put some music discs in, which one is it? Is this one? Right. These both face, oh, starting to the middle. Maybe? Wait. I feel like I messed up somewhere. Right. How many blocks wide is this? Hang on. Technical difficulties. Alright. So 5. Oh, I see. I put these a little too forward. So if we do that, now that should be fine. Apologies. Ooh, our thing just fired. That's fine. So now you can see, because there's a music disc in this dropper and it's properly activated, this comparator is activated, which fired our cannon. Now, this only fired it a little bit because there's only 1 music disc. However, if we added some more, which we can do by triggering this a couple times, now there's 5, and if we hit that, this should fire with ever greater strength. Now the thing is, we don't want this block always here with this comparator always reading, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a piston, in fact a sticky piston, that can just place it there momentarily and then retract it. And we're going to have this on both sides. And there. And then we just need to connect it to the center. Now the thing is, here I use slabs instead of, where's the dark prismarine, instead of regular blocks, just to avoid triggering this dispenser. And we will need repeaters. Here we go. Set them to 2 ticks so that we can use an observer. And then we will need to set up with set observer into the wall. Drop it down a bit. Get the observer. Set up there. Perfect. Now, if we are to connect this with some redstone, we now have a live and working cannon. I missed a comparator there. So I'll demonstrate. If I affect this dispenser, the piston pushes out the block and then pulls it back, just to allow for a quick read, which fires our cannon. Now, the only thing we have left to do is to be able to control it from the top. So we will grab some trapdoors. Crimson, I guess. I think I grabbed mangrove before, but oh well. Now, we will place them at the top, like so. You'll want 2 on each side in the front, and then 1 in the back is how I set it up, but you could theoretically inverse this. As you remember, this middle one is fire, so if we hit it, we'll watch as we fire. Again, we still fire. And then these allow us to control it. So by hitting this trapdoor, we are triggering this observer, which will affect that. And so with this set of rules, we simply move these observers like this to be on top of the trapdoors, like that, facing up, and then 1 more, place it, perfect. And now whenever we trigger these observers, it will have the effect. Now, I like to put note blocks on top of them, because we can just tap the note block and it'll affect it. If you are playing on Bedrock, this design will still work. However, you cannot do note blocks, so I've been using trapdoors, because hitting note blocks like this does not trigger observers like it does there for some reason. But hitting it with these note blocks on Java works. So you see that hit the note block, and we can do like that. So remember, right now it's set up, if you hit the ones closer to the center, it increases the firepower on that barrel, and if you do the one away, it decreases it. Now, you can flip these. So if we replace it to go like this, hang on, like that. Now these two are facing into each other. We will want to raise these up a bit, like that, and then like this. So now it'll be flipped, so farther away will increase our power, and then closer to the center decreases it. So if that's just makes more sense to you, you can set up like that. It's no problem. I prefer it the other way around, but it's customizable, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. There we go. But this is the completed build. It looks complicated, and saying it all out loud at once, it kind of sounds complicated, but it really isn't. So I do hope you enjoyed. I hope you're able to build this, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.